Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to actually test out the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette because my brushes are actually clean. In the time between filming my last video and sitting down to film this one, I had a lot of time to watch a bunch of different other reviews on this palette, and now I'm a little scared. So far, this palette has some really mixed reviews. A lot of the ones that I've subscribed to, so the people who have reviewed this that I actually already subscribed to, a lot of them had really negative feedback on it. So I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but there are a couple of things I do know beforehand. One is a lot of people had a problem with the color selection in this palette. It is called the Subculture palette. It's not called mainstream. It's not, it is supposed to be different. So the color selection honestly doesn't bother me. I don't have a lot of these colors in my kit right now, so I think this is going to be a good addition. Now, the second problem is it has a lot of fallout. So you can see I don't have any makeup on except for my eyebrows. There are so many videos out there right now, though, of people who have already hit pan on some of these shades, though, because they're so powdery and they kick off so much excess that by the time they were done with their eye look, they had already hit the pan. There's a lot to consider with this palette, obviously, but let's go ahead and just get into it. If you guys have used the Modern Renaissance palette before, actually let me see if I can find mine. Okay, so I got my Modern Renaissance palette. It's a little dusty. This is actually one that Luke really enjoyed laying on if it was out because it's so soft. This one will feel super familiar if you have used the Modern Renaissance palette before. It has the same writing and the same font. It has their logo on it. It is just as velvety soft as the Modern Renaissance palette, but the colors are totally different. This is what the colors in the Modern Renaissance palette looks like. The reason I was so excited to try this one is because I loved this one so much. This is the palette that I used for my wedding, and I just think the colors are beautiful, the pigmentation is great, and it's just so versatile. Now, see how these are? They're pretty tame. There's some bright ones in there, but overall you can get a lot of different looks out of this. On the other hand, here is the Subculture palette. These are some very different colors, and there are very few shimmer shades. I think there's only 3 in here. It's like 1, 2, 3. So this is what a lot of people didn't appreciate, I think, about this palette, but it's called Subculture. It's meant to be different, so I don't understand why people are so annoyed at it when that's kind of the whole point. Okay, so I think I've already talked enough. You'll hear me talk more throughout this video while I test the palette out. So let's just go ahead and get started. I actually really love these colors because they all look very grungy and earthy. And what I don't really understand sometimes about people who complain about the palettes is if you didn't like the colors in the first place, then why did you buy it? You knew what it looked like. People leak pictures all the time. If you hated it so much, like, why would you buy it? I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this first shade here is called Cube, and it is actually a shimmer shade. It is a wonderful, it actually looks kind of like, has like a pink shift, which is so pretty, but it's not a very good base color. I've already primed my lids with my MAC Paint Pot in Painterly, so I think the very first color I'm going to go into here is Dawn. I have an idea how I want to go with this whole look, but we'll see how it goes depending on, if we have a ton of fallout or, I just become a green monster after going through all these shades. Whoa. Whoa, that is super... Oh, it's getting everywhere! Ah! No! Okay, they weren't kidding about how powdery this palette is. It is... I barely tapped into this color. Like, just very, very lightly. And I got this color into all of these other shades around it. I even got it into this white shimmery one. It's so awful. I guess let's just continue. Let's just try another brush first, maybe. I will be less grumpy about this. I have a different brush. This is, I usually don't talk about my brushes, but this is the Morphe R38. And for all of the, like the crease blending and that initial transition color in the base shade, this is the one that I reach for every single time. I don't know if you're supposed to or not, but it gets me the best color payout, and it's just so perfect for my eye shape. So I'm going to go ahead and use this brush since I know I like it, and then we'll kind of go from there. I'm going to try to use as many colors of this as I can, just so we can test more of them out and see if they're all that kind of like chalky, powdery consistency, or if we do have some that perform a little bit better. So now I'm going to go into Edge. It's kind of like this mustard yellow color here. Oh no, this one is just as bad. Oh lord. Anyway, I will also put this in the crease. See what happens. I don't think this palette is quite as pigmented as the Modern Renaissance one was, at least. I mean, maybe I got a bad one. I don't know. But this really just, I feel like this color should have been a lot more vibrant. I mean, this is like mustard yellow, and I don't know, right now, the way it's looking, I kind of just look like I have jaundice. Okay, next I am going to try New Wave right here. I'm just really taking all the colors I can, slowly building it up. I'm being very, very gentle with this because the fallout is real and it's crazy. So I'm really just taking my time so I don't end up just looking crazy pants at the end of this. Okay, this shade really isn't so bad. This one's actually pretty pigmented. It blends pretty well. I kind of feel like it overtook the other colors a little bit because they weren't as pigmented, but we can fix that. I'm not going to be able to start showing you these colors soon with all this fallout. So next I'm going to go into Fudge. This is kind of this darker brown oh my god. Oh, this is a mess. Okay. Anyway, going into Fudge, really defining the crease, and then I think we're going to start going into some of these green and teal shades. Oh my gosh, this is so streaky. This is such a beautiful shade in the pan. Why do you go on and look so poop? It's like this one just sits wherever you initially put it and it won't blend out at all, which really sucks because this was going to be the deepest crease shade and now it's just like a streaky line on my eyes. Okay, I about give up on this brown color. It's not gonna look any better, so I'm gonna go ahead and start going into some of these green and aqua shades. Gotta be careful now. I think first I'll go into Untamed here and then Axis, but let's start with Untamed on the lid a little bit. So Untamed really packs some pigment, so that's good, but it's just as choppy as that brown shade, and it's just not, it's really not blending that well. I'm just really shocked because I thought this was going to be, you know, the same quality like the Modern Renaissance one, and those are just some of the easiest shadows to blend, and these are so difficult. I feel like I'm kind of tempting fate here, trying to put this in my inner portion of my lid, but I'm gonna do it anyway, for science. Okay, now I am going to go into Axis. This is the darkest teal shade in here. It turned out better than I hoped with this one here, Untamed. I can barely tilt this palette anymore though because I have so much fallout from this one shade. It's just going to go everywhere if I tilt it. But I'm hoping that this one will be just as pigmented as this one. That was really great. And I'm going to go in the exact same place that I did with Untamed. So we're going to go in the inner corner and the outer V. Alright, I think I've done the best that I can with those teal shades. They're super, super pigmented, but they weren't as bad as the brown, but they really did not blend that well. So now what I want to do is take the shade here, Electric. It's the shimmery, like yellow gold shade. And I think I might just try my finger first and tap this on the center of the lid where I left that little bit of space. Why isn't this as pigmented as the other ones? I'm going to take a little bit of MAC Fix Plus, and this is the other end of the brush that came with this palette. I'm just going to give it a couple of sprays, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more pigment out of this color. Oh yes, this is what I wanted. I'm actually going to go ahead and do the rest of my makeup so that I can come back and do the lower lash line. Okay, I'm back. I have most of the rest of my makeup on. We just need to do the lower lash line and put a little bit of mascara on, and we're almost done. I'm not going to take all of the same shades that I use on my upper lash line on my lower lash line because I know how they work now. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't like. So I'm going to start out on my lower lash line, working from out, in, and I'm just going to use a couple of different shades. I'm going to go ahead and use Fudge and the two teal shades that I used on my upper lid. Okay, so now I'm going into that first teal shade. This is Untamed. And now I am finishing off the lower lash line with Axis. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to go back into that beautiful yellow shade Electric and run that in the very middle of the lower lash line, just like we did on the top. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. I went ahead and I put on some mascara and I did some tight lining with the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil in Roach, but I didn't do any liquid liner because I really just wanted the center of the lid on this to just stand out. I didn't want anything to take away from it. So, my thoughts on this. Anastasia Beverly Hills is an amazing brand and they always put out really high quality products. However, if you are thinking that this is just going to be a different version of the Modern Renaissance palette, you would be mistaken. These colors are super chalky. They're hard to blend the darker you get. So the lighter colors, I don't know if you just can't tell as much that they're not blended or if they just really don't blend that well. But the darker colors get really, really patchy and just fall everywhere. This is not a palette that you want to do your eyes last with. If you're going to use this and you have anything close to a heavy hand, just do your eye makeup first, clean up whatever fell out, and be on your merry way. I can see how this can go wrong really quickly, especially if you decide to do your base makeup first, because I really think you're going to just end up with just green. Green cheeks, brown cheeks. You're going to have some grungy looking cheeks. Although those dark colors are really, really chalky, they are pretty pigmented, so it's kind of a give and take. Now the metallic shades in here are, to me, kind of worth the whole palette. I ended up using that really light white kind of shade, Cube, on the inner corner and to highlight my brow bone, and it looks white in the pan, but it goes on this really beautiful, like, iridescent kind of duochrome pink. I don't know how they made that shade, but that is just stunning. It is so beautiful. So I'll definitely be using that one again. This one here on the middle of the lid and on the bottom lash line, Electric, also amazing. I'm sure the other one in this palette, I think there's one more shimmer shade, is also amazing. Those ones are so much better wet too. I tried dry and with my finger, and I really didn't get a whole lot of color payoff. So maybe some of these other shadows are also better wet. Who knows? I did really enjoy this, but it took so much patience to get the look that I wanted. If you're not that kind of person and you're not willing to sit there and really work at blending, this really isn't for you. I don't think so. It's a wonderful palette. Like I said, the pigmentation is pretty good. It has a crap ton of fallout, so you will make a mess. My whole desk is a mess right now. It's just powder everywhere. But if you're on the fence about this palette at all, I'd probably say no. Don't get it. You know, if you haven't tried the Modern Renaissance palette and you do want to try an Anastasia palette, oh, go for that one. You will not be disappointed. But this one, I will use it again. Like I said, I totally love the shimmer shades, but it's just so much of a mess. It's not something I think that I will end up reaching for all the time unless I'm totally ready and prepared to clean up the aftermath of doing my eyes with this. Thank you guys again so much for watching this tutorial and review of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. You know, like I said before, some of these are hits and misses, and I'm really on the fence about this one. So, to each his own. There's a lot of videos of people who don't like it, and then there's videos of people who seem to really love it. So, I'm kind of in the middle, and I haven't seen very many people who are on the fence about it yet. If you guys like these videos, like always, give them a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe before you leave. I hope you guys are having an awesome weekend, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye guys!